What is up, everybody? Bobby here, the Nintendo Guru. Time for the rigmarole breakdown, the Patreon shoutouts, plugs, whatever you want to call it. We gotta get an official name for this, Toby. I don't know what. This is just ridiculous. Every week I'm just stammering and stuttering along like an idiot here. But anyway, Platinum Executive Producer Corey Hicks, Gold Executive Producer Sheldon Benedict, Executive Producers Nick Milicia, James Johnson, Jesse Armstrong, Glauco Schaffer, David Ray, Mike Drummie, Brendan Myers, Aaron Doherty, Martini Jean, Joel Brooks, and our newest executive producer. Thank you so very much, Kieran Smith. You are the best, man. You guys are all the best. That list is getting very long. I'm going to tell you right now. Guys, I would say no more, but I know Toby would yell at me if I said no more.
Yeah, Bobby. What are you talking about?
With that, let's kick off this show. What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of the Gaming Gurus. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by my best friend in all the land, Toby Thornton. What is up, Toby?
What is up, Bobby? Nice to see you today.
You as well, you as well. And for those that are watching the video right now, they're going like, okay, I don't see Sean. I see a guy that looks a little bit like Sean, but it's not really Sean, you know? And so what we have today is we have a couple gentlemen from Castle Pixel, from Blossom Tales, that amazing game that is taking the world by storm right now. We have Rob from Castle Pixels. How you doing, Rob?
Pretty good. Happy to be here.
And we have Miguel as well. How you doing, Miguel?
Pretty good. How's it going?
Very good, very good. Real quick, before we get into the whole gist of what we're doing here, take a second, just introduce yourselves, like let people know like what you're involved with the game and all that stuff, and like you're part of the company and all that. So we'll start with Rob.
So I am Castle Pixels. I guess you could say I'm kind of a developer, artist, game designer. Do a little bit of writing, but Miguel mainly does that. And yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Art and game design primarily. Some programming, some writing.
Nice.
But yeah.
Miguel, what about you?
Yeah, I take most of the writing. My intro was Rob, but I did the dialogue. I helped a little bit with like some testing puzzle. He stuck to the corny dad jokes and listened to them.
Real quick, I am getting a little bit of feedback. It might be Rob's computer.
I can I can turn the volume down. I can also put headphones in. That'll probably solve the problem.
Yeah. It's just a little echo. Like when Miguel was talking, I could hear. When I was talking, when Miguel was talking, I could hear a little bit of feedback. Okay.
All right, cool. How's that?
That's good. That's good.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm still getting it. Maybe it's Miguel.
Might be me if it's you hear echo.
I don't now. Let me try it again. All right, it stopped. Okay. Okay, so at this point, let's kick the show off like we do each and every episode with our Geek Outs. For the new guys, this is just basically, we want to just let people know like what we're excited about. So it can be anything in the world that has you excited at the moment. But Toby, what are you geeking out about this week?
So I'm geeking out about a printer that I got. I know, exciting, right?
Yeah.
It's a Kodak PD450, and it's a little sort of portable printer that you plug your mobile phone into, and you can print 4x6 size photos straight from your phone.
Oh, nice.
And it's really cool, actually, because nobody takes proper photos, nobody prints real photos anymore. It's all digital. So, and I wanted to, since I've starting my own family now, I've got a new baby. I thought it'd be great to actually have some physical photos. So yeah, I've been printing them today.
Oh boy, here we go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Here we go. Rob, what are you geeking out about?
Let's see. Geeking out. I don't know. I've been playing Rocket League on the Switch lately.
God.
That's pretty cool.
That game is so good, man. That game is
Yeah,
so
it's fun. I like having it on the Switch, playing it in bed and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun playing that. It's pretty much the only geeky thing I've been doing lately.
Miguel, you got anything for us?
I've been still playing Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh wow.
Pretty close to like 999 moons.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Having fun with that. I mean, my wife, before we got married, she didn't play games, so now, like, she helps me with the easy. Like, there are a lot of stupid easy moons where you just have to, like, run behind something and find them. So she helps me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fun with that.
So this goes up Monday. I can talk about it now. So I have a new. I'm geeking out pretty hard about this. I have a new show that I will be recording tonight. I'm actually recording with Jules Watcham. So Jules, that for those that don't know, he owns a TUI. He used to work for Renegade Kid. The show is going to basically, like, tonight we're recording like an episode 0. But the idea behind the show is each week we will grab one of his games that he helped work on throughout eternity. For his, he's been doing games for over 30 years. So we'll go back and one by one, each game he's worked on, and we're going to kind of do like a director's cut on those games. So him and I will watch gameplay footage of it. Some of the games I'll go back and play. Some of it is just too hard to get, so we'll just basically go off of gameplay footage that we have on the internet. And we're going to watch the footage and give he's going to give a director's cut of like different things behind the scenes on those games. A little bit different. I don't think that's anything, at least in my mind, that I've seen like a gamer do. And it gives a little bit of perspective, like, so he can be like, hey, you remember, I remember like when we were, working on the game, this particular enemy we did and why we did it this particular way. And then, so we know we could do at least 30 episodes, so we'll see how that goes. And then afterwards, who knows, maybe we'll start doing some other stuff. But it's kind of interesting. We finalized it yesterday. We were talking, so it's pretty exciting. I'm pretty hyped up about that.
That sounds pretty cool, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. So,
what are you going to call it?
I don't know. That's why we're doing episode 0. I like so I came up with a name because he just came out Mutant Muds. So I like the idea. I was going to call it The Good, the Bad, the Muddy, but I don't know if I don't know.
I like that.
I like it, but I got to run it by him first. He's got to give the okay. So we'll see. I'm trying to come up with a list of names and I'm stumbling at the moment. So that's the only one that came that I was like, I like that name. I might use that. So we'll see. And then next week it'll be something different, and I'll have to come back and tell you a different name. So, but it'll be primarily the show will be on my YouTube channel, and we will. That's so if people are looking for it, that's where they'll be able to find it. So I'm really excited about it. It'll be a lot of fun. I like Jules a lot. He's a good guy. Okay, so I don't know. We brought these guys to. I guess we should ask them some questions, right?
Oh,
they're not getting a free pass today. We got to. First off, I want to thank you guys for both coming. We appreciate this wholeheartedly, man. Anytime that someone, agrees to come on, we're pretty excited about that. And so basically what I wanted to do is to kind of get some backstory a little bit before this. Like, where did you guys get your start in gaming? Like, where does this all come from? Like, in terms of, like, how do you get to where you're at this point?
Well, let's see. I started in game development probably like my first job out of college. So I must have been like 20. And I was working for an advertising agency, and one of the clients that we had wanted like some educational games. So that's when I first got bit by the gaming bug. I started doing, my own side projects after that point. It was with a framework called Flixel, which was like an old Flash-based game framework. It's since grown into, I think it's called Phaser now, which is like a JS game framework, JavaScript. Okay. So yeah, I did that for a while. Did some smaller projects. Like the first game that we put out, Miguel and I worked on together was Rex Rocket, which is it's a game out on Steam. It's a really hard platformer, but it's a lot of fun too. So that was our first game together, and then after that we made Blossom Tales. So
the team consists of what, four main players, correct? Like four.
Well, yeah, it's primarily Miguel, Tyler, and myself.
Okay.
So Tyler's not here today. He's like Miguel was Castle Pixel's full-time writer. Tyler would be Castle Pixel's full-time programmer.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
And then where? So okay, so you guys did the other game. You came together, and then you're working on this game. So this is essentially your second game in theory, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically.
So you guys didn't come from any like that's. I think that's the part that kind of excites me here is like when you look at Yacht Club, you know that we know that Yacht Club came from someplace else. We know that a lot of these developers, these indie developers, like Ukulele developers, Platonic was actually part of Rare. So it's kind of interesting when like guys come up and they start doing it. So what got you to the point that you were like, because this game was originally on Steam in March, correct? What got you to the point where you're like, okay, we want to take it from Steam to now Switch? Like, where does that transition come from? How do you? What's the mindset playing in there?
Well, we released on Steam originally, and we had used a game development framework called Monogame, which Monogame lets you port to practically anywhere nowadays. iOS, Android, and Switch. So it was kind of a no-brainer for us. We had this very Nintendo style game,
yes.
Zelda, all that stuff. So, we figured that getting it on Switch, it would probably do the best. It's where our target audience was for the game, and it was kind of a no-brainer to kind of push it over to the Switch. So,
why do you think it sold so much better on Switch than it did on Steam? Is that sort of a platform thing or an audience thing or both?
Yeah, I think it's more of an audience thing. We're like, I know Miguel and we're big Nintendo gamers. The game's for Nintendo fans, that grew up on Zelda. I think it's just, Nintendo Switch is our target audience, basically. That's pretty much it.
Was it something where you guys set out and you were like, okay, we want to make a top-down Zelda game, or was it just something that it was like it just fell in, like you were working on something else and this kind of came about? So like, how did that come together?
Well, for myself, just really wanted to make a top-down Zelda game. It's we grew up on those kind of games, and it's always kind of been like on my bucket list to make a Zelda-like. That's pretty much how it came about. I don't know, it might be different for you, Miguel. I don't know.
No, it's the same. I mean, Castle Pixel, it's always been making games that are like inspired by what we grew up with.
Yeah.
So we almost, not really a checklist, but almost like a checklist with Rocket. With Rex Rocket, we got like Mega Man down, and naturally, what's next? Like a Zelda. Zelda's always been one of my favorite series since The Link to the Past. And
the one thing I will say about, for me personally, I think the ingenious thing about this game is the storytelling. I think that it's what it does for me. Zelda games are typically the same story every single time. Like, there is no real story. Like, as time's gone on, there's been a little bit of lore put into place, but it's not necessarily like this big epic tale or a storytelling thing. What I liked about this was, like, you start the game and it's a grandfather telling his two grandchildren, a story, and he starts telling them the tale of Zelda, and they cut him off. And that I love that part of it. Like, when that hit, I was like, I'm in. This has me hooked now. This is amazing. So I tip my cap to you. That was really, really well done in that aspect. Toby, what do you got?
Well, I'll tell you one thing I liked about the storytelling aspect of it was there were some areas in the game where you went into a room and there was just a chest sitting there, and there was no puzzle to solve, no enemies to kill. It was like, just go and get the chest. And then all of a sudden the kids chime in, and they're like, well, no, Grandpa, it couldn't have been that easy. And then they're chucking monsters in and different things in, and I love the like dynamic sort of storytelling style to that. So who came up with that? Was that all Miguel or?
Yeah.
Since the beginning, we had kind of like a wanted to give it like a Princess Bride vibe.
Yeah.
Definitely, those are moments that we would have hoped to add more of, but with time and everything. But we're happy to see that a lot of people enjoy those little moments.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't feel like intrusive, or they didn't rip you out of the immersion or anything. They're actually kind of reminded you that it's a story within a story, and a charming way. So.
That's what I think that's what I liked about it, because it kept forcing the narrative that, like, you're not alone. Like, you're watching the story unfold, but you're also, like, there's two kids also listening to the story as well. And it's things that I think the cool thing about it is I don't think there's a time in anybody's life, I would hope not anyway, that, like, you're not around, like, the campfire, or you're not with your family, and, like, one of your elder family members is telling a story to the kids, and the kids start to chime in a little bit, like, well, that's not believable, like, and then they might put a little twist to it or whatever, and, like, so that's what tied it in for me, and it took me to a different time, because I was like, this makes sense, like, this happens, like, especially little kids, like, their imagination start running wild, and you would know that, like, a kid would jump in here and chime in. So I love that aspect of it. I thought it was really, really well done. I think the other thing, Toby and I did a review and on the game, and the one thing that I mentioned in the review was I felt like this is the best top-down Zelda game, spiritual successor that I've ever played. We were both big fans of It'll Do and It'll Do 2, as well as Toby was a bigger fan of Oceanhorn than I was. But the thing that I loved about it, like, not knocking those games at all, they're both really great games. My issues with, like, It'll Do is, like, you would go into a room with a bunch of pots, and you're breaking them, which is a Zelda thing to do, and there's nothing in it. You're not getting anything out of it. So that's what I liked about your stuff, but with Oceanhorn, it felt like there was nothing really to the dungeons, and you guys really took the dungeons and added that puzzle element to it and really added to it. So for me, that's what really got me excited about this game. Like, it felt very much so like A Link to the Past, really deeply. I remember the day that Toby started playing, and he messages me, and he's like, Bobby, you're going to love this game. Because our favorite Zelda game is Link to the Past. So he's just like, dude. And it was the house, right? The house did it for you? Like the house? Yeah.
Yeah, because the house is like set. It's laid out exactly like Link's house from Link to the Past. Pots are in the same area.
Right,
like,
yeah.
You pick up on those little details, and it's such a nice little love letter to A Link to the Past.
Yeah. So moving, basically, you guys have all this, and you're working on Steam, and then you go to Switch. How much was Nintendo? Because I had someone come to me and was like, how was this allowed? But because you're not stealing the characters or anything like that, it's just basically, like I said, a spiritual successor. But how open was Nintendo to this game? Have you talked to anybody from Nintendo? Like, were they really behind it, or?
No, our publisher dealt with Nintendo for the most part. We didn't really have to deal with them at all. Okay. But I'm just, I'm assuming that nothing like that ever came up. So, yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of Zelda likes that have come out, and like you said, we didn't put like Link in there or Ganon or anything like that. So, gameplay mechanics. I think you can copyright them, but no, nothing like that really ever came up. We never heard anything from our publisher like, hey, you guys can't pick up pots or do a roundhouse sword strike or any of that sort of stuff. So everything went fine as far as I know.
Was it? Because I know right now the whole there's a huge transition happening where female leads are starting to become a thing. Was this? I mean, you could have picked either, or obviously a 50% chance, either male or female. What was the idea of, like, we're going to make the lead of this game a female? Where did that come about?
Well, I think it's kind of, just like the story starts about, the same old tale of, Elf Boy from Hyrule. Mm-hmm. I think making, I personally have always wanted to see a female Zelda lead, which we've never gotten. So, I thought it was, a nice kind of inversion to the story with having, a girl as the main character, and instead of, a knight saving the princess, it's a girl knight saving the king. Yeah. So, I just thought that whole kind of juxtapose was nice in the game, and made it more interesting.
Absolutely.
Playing this game, it's clear how much you are inspired by a classic traditional Zelda. You go into dungeons, you find items, you beat bosses, and you move on to the next dungeon and you get the next item. But since Breath of the Wild came out this year, and it's sort of taken the genre in a different direction, it's much more open and free now, and it's all about player choice and everything. So after sort of playing that, I assume you've played it, does that sort of change your thoughts about a possible sequel in the future? Would you like to take this genre into a more sort of open direction, or are you more just a fan of the traditional style?
Miguel, you can take that one.
So right now, where there's nothing set in terms of sequel, we'll see if Grandpa has another story to tell.
I'm going to tell you right now, from all the fans, Grandpa better have another story to tell.
Yeah, he better.
This is nonsense. Don't come with this, Miguel. Leave the podcast now and start writing a sequel now.
Yeah, we'll see if Grandpa wakes up.
Okay.
But I think one of the benefits, or one of kind of like the stars aligned for us with Blossom Tales, because for one, everyone is going crazy about Breath of the Wild. I loved it personally.
Yeah. Even
though it strayed a lot from traditional Zelda, but it left like kind of like a little itch to scratch for Switch gamers. There's no 2D Zelda right now. Yeah. Not even in like a virtual console version. You can't download the apps on your Switch or anything. So it that helped us. People who just played Breath of the Wild and they're like, oh, kind of want to go back to traditional Zelda. That helped us.
Yeah.
So if we were to move forward, Breath of the Wild would be something interesting to look into.
Yeah.
We just have to kind of plan to see if we want to keep going with the classic Zelda style. But we'll see.
It's because with Breath of the Wild, for me, one of the things that let it down for me was the dungeons, and how I really want traditional style Zelda dungeons in that open world. So if somebody was to mix those two together, like, that would be the ultimate for me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, after playing Breath of the Wild, there's a lot of stuff that I would have loved to pull into Blossom Tales in the 2D format of Breath of the Wild. Like a lot of the one-off shrines, is just kind of like fun little challenge areas. I thought was a lot of fun. We actually did something similar in Rex Rocket, where we had all these optional side rooms that you could do, and they were basically challenge rooms, a lot like that. So in Blossom Tales, we didn't really add in a lot of just one-off. There's some, but not on the scale that Breath of the Wild has. So that would have been really cool to pull in. And yeah, I think when we first started Blossom Tales, we wanted it to be more of an open world, just be able to kind of roll up to anything. But somewhere along the way, we kind of changed the formula, so that was more linear, kind of stuck more to a traditional Zelda style game. But yeah, there's, for Blossom Tales too, we don't have any plans yet, but making it an open world like that would definitely be on the table if we were to start it up.
I think
so, that'd be cool.
I think that's the thing that I personally liked about A Link Between Worlds, was it took the traditional Zelda aspect and kind of made it feel more open, because you could go into any dungeon right off Jump Street, like the original Zelda, on the NES allowed you to do. That was always something that, like, I think a lot of fans were starting to grow tired of, where it was like they hand-holdy feel, like, we're going to take you into this. You have to go to this dungeon first. Then you have to go to this dungeon. Anybody that played the original knew that, like, you could stumble into, the 5th dungeon second, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, actually the easiest one to get into was the 3rd dungeon, so you could just skip the second one altogether. And it was just crazy that like you would go into these dungeons and everything was harder, and it was like if you could struggle through, it just made it that much more rewarding in the end. So I like that aspect of it, and I if you guys, you guys do what you got to do, but it would be kind of cool if you did go back. I would love to see like what aspects you pulled out of it and put into it. What's the thinking in terms of like, is there any plans to, and you can just tell me no, or you can tell me like be quiet, but is there any plans to port the other game over to Switch, or is it stuck in Steam world?
With how good Blossom Tales has done on the Switch, yeah, we're actually kind of looking into it right now. Okay. We think Rex would do really, really well on Switch as well. Maybe Rex Rocket is more of a Mega Man, Metroidvania style of a game, so it's really hard. So if we were gonna bring that over, we would have to put some development resources into kind of toning it down a little bit to make it. We know. Rex has been out for like what Miguel, like 2 years now, 2.5.
August 2015.
Yeah, it's been out for a while now.
Yeah.
So we know where all the fan frustration points are and all the major complaints for it. It would almost be like the Steam version would be like a testing copy. Okay. So we would take all the feedback from that, kind of roll it up and put it into a Switch port of the game. So. Yeah, it would. I think Rex would do really well because again, it's just like Blossom Tales. Our target audience is Nintendo fans. Yeah. So yeah, we're actually kind of thinking about that right now.
Now, the publisher was FDG, correct?
Correct.
Which they've done like Wonder Boy and all that. Is there any hopes in your mind or any talks that you can discuss, like of going physical? Like, how does physical happen? Or are you guys just strictly okay with being in a digital world?
I'd love it to have a physical version of the game put out. That would just be so cool in my mind. But we've seen, some people on Twitter asking for physical releases of the game and stuff like that. I have no clue what goes into actually having that happen. Mm-hmm. But as far as I know right now, they don't have plans for doing it. So, but that would be really cool.
That'd be amazing, and I'd love it if you could have a map that came in the box.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like a Link to the Past.
Toby with the bucket list.
Yeah.
But so is that something that you can go to FDG and be like, hey, we want a physical, can you look into this? Or is that something that they, like, if they go, no, we just don't do physical, is that something you could go to, like, are you allowed to, like, go to, like, a limited run or something like that and be like, we want to get a physical, how does this work? Or is the contract kind of lock you guys into just working dealing with FDG?
Yeah, we have a contract with FDG and stuff like that, and I'm sure the guys over there, I'm sure they have some kind of calculation that says, okay, if there's this much interest in the game, we've sold X amount of copies, it would make financial sense for them to port it to the game. They would probably definitely do it. But as far as I know right now, they don't have plans for that. I do know that they have been out of the office for like their holiday vacation, but they get back tomorrow, and so we're going to touch base with them. And I'm sure if they're thinking about a physical release, they'll let us know. But
so what you're saying is everybody should tweet at FDG and be like, we want physical, like make it happen. Ultimately I'm being a little bit jokey here, but that's honestly what it boils down to. Like, there's nothing technically you guys can do in this aspect. It's it's up to them, and they need to see from a business side, they need to see that people want it, and if people do tweet at them, then that's a way of telling them like, hey, we want this thing. So I just know that, like, for me personally, it's weird, like with the Switch, it's felt like I need more physical stuff. I prefer more physical stuff. Like, I like the digital stuff, but like I see what Nicholas is doing with their digital or with their physical stuff, and it's just like, man, I wish everybody was doing this, and it seems like the indie teams kind of get it and are working on that type of aspect, and that's what gets me excited, where like you look at Nintendo and it's like you open it up and there's nothing in it, it's just a cartridge and stuff, and it's like, so like when you get, like I got It'll Do too, and you open it up, it's got the instruction booklet, it's got, Toby's not a fan of the map, but it has a map that comes with it and stuff. So
Nice.
What about DLC? Does that interest you? Like putting any extra like game modes or new game plus or something in Blossom Towers?
Yeah, I mean, we would love to put some DLC together. Unfortunately, we're a really small development team. I think a lot of people don't really get that. There's one programmer, a programmer and a half if you include me in the game or in the development of it, and then we have Miguel too. So it's a really small development team. So we got to be pretty selective about what we put our resources into. Mm-hmm. I mean, right now, I don't think we'll be doing any kind of DLC. If anything, we'll be doing a sequel probably.
Yeah. Where does take us through the mindset of like the day of the launch on because you guys, like I said, it was on Steam for 6 months, give or take, before it launches on the Switch. I assume because. Maybe we'll start with this. Let me correct the numbers. My understanding is like it sold 3 or 4 times the amount of games. Like, was it day one or the first week? Then it sold on all of Steam. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is right.
Okay.
We sold a ton on Switch in comparison to Steam.
So what's the Are you guys calling each other flipping out as you're looking at these numbers coming in, or what's your mindset during all that?
Yeah, we were ecstatic that it was doing really well. I think we just had a little bit of bad luck with the Steam release. When we released it, I think Steam, they had just opened the floodgates for a lot of games to be released. So I think we just kind of got lost in all the games that they're putting through. But yeah, when Switch came out and we got the first numbers in, we were going crazy. So it was. Yeah, it was a good day.
Did you I totally lost where I was going with that. So because I feel like Nintendo's kind of starting to get like that a little bit with the Switch, where it just feels like every single week, there's more and more games coming in. And did you ever feel at that point oh man, maybe we got here just a little too late, or was it just whatever, we'll just see what happens, we're rolling the dice here?
Miguel, you want to take that one?
FTG is the one who handled the port. I think, like Rob said, with the release of the Steam version, it just happened to come at a bad time. It also came almost right after, I think right after Breath of the Wild came out too. Mm-hmm. So people were going crazy about an actual, full-fledged Zelda. No time for a, horror homage, but it came at the right time. The first holiday season for Switch. I do feel that more and more indies are going to come out on Switch. Obviously, it's crazy success. It's the fastest selling home console in the US, I believe.
Right now, yeah.
Pretty crazy. Looking into the Wii U, which I personally loved. It didn't have the same success, but I think it just came at a good time. And Steam is kind of crazy, really competitive. You release a game you worked on for 2 years, and in 24 hours it's already off the front page. So I think Switch is just the fact that it's Nintendo. I mean, even in December, 20 plus games came out on the eShop. Mm-hmm. We still, even when a ton of games come out, you still manage to do good if your game is, finds an audience. And that's what happened with us. So we're not worried about down the road.
I've said this before, in the beginning, I do a couple different shows, and there's a show that I do called Nintendo Talk Live, and I like to do this thing on there where I ask, what was the first console you guys owned as a kid?
My first one was a Nintendo Entertainment System, original Nintendo.
Okay.
So that was mine.
What about you, Miguel?
It was Super Nintendo for me.
What's your favorite Nintendo console that you've owned?
I think I gotta go with Switch. I mean, it's amazing.
So that's a good answer.
The Switch is really, like, for me, it was a Super Nintendo. And then, but the Switch is right there, man. Like, it's just, I don't know what it is about it. It's just something, the whole portability, and then just the whole playing at home on HD, and then it's just really, it's really awesome. I'm loving it a lot. Like, is Zelda your favorite franchise, or was this just like, hey, we like Zelda, so this is going to be the next one in a line of, like, you know, Nintendo games that we want to go back to?
Yeah, well, I grew up, I had an NES, so I played the original Zelda, thought it was amazing. And then after Nintendo, we got a Genesis. So, like, for me personally, the only time I got to play, like, the new Zelda games or any Nintendo games, period, once the 16-bit era hit, it was over at friends' houses. So they were always kind of games that, like, I only got a little bit of playtime with. So, like, yeah, they always held like kind of a special place in my imagination because I never really got to fully dive into them. So making games like Blossom Tales, it's kind of like fulfilling. Like, these are the games I wanted to play when I was younger, like with Rex Rocket and Blossom Tales. So, but yeah, Zelda is like, it's probably my favorite Nintendo franchise. I just think it's like the coolest thing.
How about you, Miguel?
Zelda has always been my favorite franchise. It's Mario has always had a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Super Mario World and all that, but I've bought like the home, the console Zelda games. I've bought them day one since Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
So I've been a huge fan. So like Rob said, it's pretty amazing to actually get to work on a game where like every article is like, oh, this feels like playing Link to the Past. This feels like Zelda.
Yeah. That's I think that's the thing, like, about this, like, with Toby and I being, with Link to the Past being our favorite game, our favorite Zelda game, when you get a game that feels, like, midway through, I was just like, man, this game just feels so much. Actually, to me, I felt I liked it better on certain aspects. The only thing that I think that doesn't take it to that next level is the length of the game. But I totally get it. Like, you guys are a small team, and there's only so much you could do. But for me, when I looked at it, I was like, Link to the Past is such a longer tale. This is more concise and more precise, which is kind of good too because it keeps you focused on the end game and where you're going with it. You don't kind of get those. You don't get those lulls in some games where you just feel like, what am I doing? Like, this is just, I'm doing this out of repetition and stuff. Like, you kind of kept everything kind of flowing in a good path, especially with the puzzles and all that stuff. So I like that aspect of it a lot.
Can I ask, what have you got against butterflies? Because in this game you can destroy every single butterfly you come across. You never get any coins from it. There's no reason to kill them, but you can.
I don't know. I think it came about from people playtesting it, and everyone's trying to kill the butterfly. So it's like, I actually wanted it to be like, if you killed like 5 of them on the same map, it would be like the Zelda chicken, where just like
that
four
would be
butterflies.
amazing.
Yeah, right. Blossom Tales too, if it happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You get attacked by a bunch of butterflies.
Right? Yeah.
Or a gigantic butterfly comes in and, like, the queen and takes you out. That'd be kind of cool.
Right.
That is kind of... You know what? I did notice it a couple times. Like, I was just swinging. It wasn't I was purposely trying to kill butterflies. But I'm swinging, cutting grass, and, like, I'm noticing they're disappearing. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then, like, I like the birds, too. Like, that was... It felt... I think that's what I liked about this game, too, was, like, it felt like the world was more alive. Like, you would go on, and then, like, you just see birds coming, like, swooping by. And, like, they don't bother you. They don't touch you. They're just flying by. And it's, like, it gave this feeling of, like, the world is alive around you and stuff. I also liked the ghosts. Like, was that purposely done to be, like, we're gonna take the booze from Mario and, like...
Yeah. I think Miguel came up with that one for doing like roundhouses and stuff like that. So Yeah, it was definitely Boo inspired. We had to, you know, figure out like, using like the roundhouse to kill them, or dropping a bomb, or you can even like shoot an arrow towards a ghost and then like turn around the other way so that they turn back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was just, great, gameplay element. So,
But
yeah, definitely Mario inspired.
Took me a second to realize, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not afraid of these guys now. I got it. I could just face them, and they'll just they'll be afraid." So that was kind of cool. What's the like? There's two options. I mean, obviously, you guys have at this point. You can either continue down this road of Blossom Tales or go a different direction. What's the feeling at this point? Like, do you want to keep going with other Nintendo games, or do you feel like maybe we should settle in a little bit here and come back with a sequel, or what's the mindset at this point?
You know what? Right now, everything's 100% up in the air. We don't know what we're going to do. We got to talk to our publisher whenever they get back in the office and, sync up with them and then go from there. So I don't really, I'd love to be able to say, yeah, we're making Blossom Tales 2 or we're porting Rex. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
So,
it's kind of up to them.
Have you seen anyone speedrun Blossom Tales yet?
I have. Miguel, have you been watching that stuff?
I haven't. I missed that.
Yeah,
cool.
people. I've seen people on Twitter posting their speedrun scores, and it's like people are beating it in half an hour.
What? No way.
Yeah, I know, right? And Tyler and I, the programmer, we've seen these numbers popping up, and we're like, where were these people when we were playtesting it? Because like it would take us like at least like an hour to run through the game, like just beelining it. So, yeah, people are definitely crushing the game out really quick. So.
Are there any like major glitches people are utilizing to get those sort of times? And
I'm not sure.
You're not sure, because it always interests me when developers see people breaking their games for speedruns, but they don't patch the bugs. They leave them in because it's so interesting seeing people play the game that way.
Yeah, I haven't actually watched any of the speedrun videos. Like I clicked through one of them, but. If there are bugs that they're finding, they're not posting about them. So yeah I'm not sure.
I mean, I didn't come across any bugs when I played the game, so it's really well put together.
Yeah, there are a couple. Like we've had some people, message us on Twitter or like by email saying, "Oh, hey, I got stuck in this one room, I can't proceed," or like, I got stuck, there's like one area in the snow zone where if you jump down, you're actually like stuck in this group of trees and you have to like, kill yourself to, get to a respawn. But there's no game breaking bugs. Like even the one where there's one dungeon door that wouldn't open back up, that you can get by that one, and same with the tree one. So yeah, the zero game breaking bugs that we're aware of so far. So that's great.
Yeah, that's good. That was the thing I was going to say I like about it, too, is like you go in and you're playing, and it's like I felt like I more beelined it to beat the game, where Toby, I'm talking to him, and he's got much more hearts than me and all that stuff. I'm like, holy crap. He's apparently talking to every NPC in the game and all that. I'm like,
nice.
So I like that. I like the different, like, even though we took different routes, so to speak, not different routes, but even though we took different progressions to get to the end, like I was still able to complete the game, even though I wasn't as nearly as far as he was in terms of like collecting hearts and all that stuff. So that aspect of it, it also felt a little bit. I think the thing that I liked was you could also stockpile, where you weren't limited to like 4 jars of like, and you had to pick which you wanted, like a power up or a magical boost, and like you could get those other items as well.
I didn't like that as much though, because I felt that made it too easy. Because by the end of the game, I had like 10 different potion bottles and loads of little flower things that bring you back to life.
Don't ruin the game for me. You say that stuff privately. Don't say it to these guys. They'll change it in the next game, man.
No, yeah, we hear you guys. It's hard to strike, balance between casual gamers and hardcore gamers, and so yeah, if you run around Blossom Tales, and like you said, you talk to everybody and you go into every single house and stuff like that, you'll probably get overpowered. But if you're just a very casual player, even if you do that, you might still have a hard time with getting through and progressing through the game. So
I think that's why I would like hard mode or a new game plus that just made it a little bit tougher.
Yeah, we wanted to do tons of stuff like a new game plus and things like that, but like I said, we were just trying to get it out on deadline. But yeah, all that stuff, Blossom Tales too. So
you keep saying that, and you're really getting my hopes up.
Yeah, like I said, we don't have anything set in stone, but it'd be very cool if we did get a chance to do that. But time will tell.
I would seriously, I would be excited to see what you could do, because what I say in the review is the nice thing about It'll Do and It'll Do 2 is like you saw what the mindset of the developer was with It'll Do 1, and then It'll Do 2, it took it drastically in another direction, like opened it up and it made it feel. So I was like, man, if these guys kind of nailed it in the first game, the second game could only be better. Because ultimately you think like, okay, we have the second game, we have more money, a little bit more time, we could play a little bit and make it, add some things that we wanted. So hopefully that's the way the publisher goes. We're going to have to talk to them. We're going to have to start email.
Yeah.
we need Blossom Tail too. Come on, let's go.
Right.
What else you got, Toby? I know you had questions you wanted to ask, so I want to make sure you get yours in.
Where are the Pegasus boots? I want some way of running fast in this game. Like,
well, there is sneakers, right? There are sneakers.
Yeah. There's the dash boots. Yeah.
Dash boots. Yeah, but they're sort of like, I don't know. It's not quite. It's not like holding a button down and just constantly going. Like,
right. Yeah. Again, Blossom Tales too.
Yeah.
We had the dash boots in there. We wanted to do all sorts of stuff for doing like a roll or like a dash with your sword out, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We do have the dash boots where you can dash with your sword out, but something more Zelda-like where, you had a variable speed. If you wanted to hold down a button to run, you could do that, stuff like that. So,
I found myself constantly swinging the sword because I felt like that made me move quicker in the game.
It actually does. If you swing the sword, you get like a little bit of momentum going forward to kind of push the player in whatever direction. That does. It's a little bit of a hack. I bet you if you watch those speedrun videos, you would see people doing that nonstop cutting.
Yeah. So who came up with the idea of sort of theming the game around flowers? Because obviously Blossom and you've got Crocus, like the main bad guy. Like, was that just something that came out of the blue, or did you just want to theme it so it felt different? Like, where did the flower thing come from?
I don't know, Miguel. Where did the flower thing come from?
As far as I know, it was just there from the beginning. Just kind of.
Yeah.
One thing that we noticed is kind of would make the game more, having a theme would make it more unique.
Yeah.
So we ended up naming after flowers, just having a good time with that.
That's pretty cool. I didn't actually realize that Crocus was a flower until playing Stardew Valley, and then I was picking up Crocus flowers.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah, everything in Blossom Tales named after flowers. It's fun, it kind of, it is like a unifying theme throughout the whole game, so kind of worked out.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap at this point. First, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I truly do appreciate this. This is pretty awesome to be able to talk to you guys. So thank you for that. Where can people talk to you guys or get a hold of you guys or whatever if they're looking to follow you? Or do you have anything you want to promote or talk about or anything like that real quick?
Yeah, I think like the best way to, if you want to, give us a follow on Facebook or Twitter, just, facebook.com/castlepixel, same for Twitter. And yeah, that's pretty much best way to, stay in touch with us. You can follow FTG Games as well, on Twitter. And yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate it. Toby, They can follow Toby at Toby's_take. You can follow me at Nintendo Gurus. So that is all. Peace out, Preston.
Ciao.
Cool. Thanks for having us, guys.
No problem.
Thanks, guys.
Toby, we just finished with these guys. Castle Pixel. That was pretty cool. I was glad to have them come on. You finally stepped out of your shell. You finally did some producing on your side. You reached out to them without me knowing about it and hooked it up.
I roped them in. I lassoed them on Twitter.
Then you decided to show up late for the show. Like
I was on time.
You were
Bobby.
late for the show. Stop,
on the
man.
dot. On the dot.
Sean Capri don't show up at all. Like what is going on with you guys?
What happened with Sean Capri?
He just had fatherly duties to do, and he couldn't get here. So
Sean had a tummy ache.
Sean decided to stay up super late last night playing PUBG.
Yeah, that's probably right.
I was laying in bed at 2:00 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, just kind of like tossing and turning. I was like, I got some messages on YouTube, and so let me go answer these comments and stuff, and I click over, and there's Sean playing PUBG with Chelsea and Josh Stapleton, and so Josh Stapleton, you were to blame for Sean not being on the show today. I hold you personally responsible, Josh, just so you know. I love you, but I still hold you personally responsible.
Yeah, slap on the wrist.
So Toby, what's going on with your shows here? We need to figure this out. We need to have a little discussion here.
Yeah.
I know you recorded a new show.
Yep.
Is that up yet?
It's not up yet because I'm not happy with it. I showed it to you and Sean and Mike Drummie, but
stop showing it to people. Put it up.
Yeah, Bobby, I'm gonna cut it up.
No, dude,
it's way too long. It's 21 minutes long. Nobody wants to watch me for 21 minutes, Bobby.
I watched it for 20 minutes and I laughed my ass off.
Yeah, because you're in it, Bobby.
I had nothing to do with it. That wasn't even the parts I laughed at.
All right.
I laughed at the parts after that. Listen, this was Tony's comments to me directly. If it was a show that I was doing, where I'm just talking to the camera, it would be boring. You break it up with multiple things, so it keeps it feeling like a sketch comedy, and it's constantly moving forward. I think it's a mistake. First off, you're talking to the two guys that don't do YouTube. Don't listen to them. Trust me on this one. Trust me on this one. Put it up. Put it up as is.
I might put it up as is, and then I'll see what feedback I get.
That's all.
And if people don't watch it all, or people say, "Oh, I like this," and like that, then I can change it for the next episode.
Yeah,
I've already got ideas for episode 2, talking about Zelda stuff, and I've also I've possibly got a collaboration coming with a YouTuber that you don't know who lives nearby me, actually.
Oh, nice.
So, and that's gonna probably be about PlayStation 4, PS1 remasters on PS4.
Nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, like I was talking to Jules about it last night because I told him what you were doing, and he's interested in seeing it. So stop playing games. Let's go.
All right, I'll put it up then, Bobby. Because it's ready to go.
Look, it's done. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just put it up as it is. You're overthinking it. You know what I mean? You should just. This was what you did when you were editing it. This is the editor's cut. This is the director's cut. Put it up.
All right, I'll put it up.
Seen what happened when Warner Brothers gets involved with DC movies and they overcut stuff. You can't do this. Don't be DC.
Okay, Bobby.
So for a second time, that is all. And peace out, Preston.
Ciao.